You overslept. Rushing around the apartment, you pulled on some jeans while brushing your teeth, getting rid of the nap breath. You pulled on a random black shirt, then slipped on a warm jacket as you brushed your hair. Once you were as good as it was going to get, you ran out of your apartment, wallet and beanie held between your teeth as you zipped up your boots while hopping to the elevator.
If I run, I'll probably make it on time.
You were jogging in place in the elevator, warming up for the mad dash you were about to make. You almost bulldozed into your neighbor as you rushed out. Luckily, you sidestepped in time.
Sorry, Mrs. Midoriya, I'm in a rush.
You ran at full speed to catch the next bus, or else you'd never make it there. You weaved through the crowds, barely making it to the bus stop before the bus pulled up. You got on the bus, panting and feeling your clothes sticking to you. Your phone vibrated in your pocket, signaling you that you'd received a text. From Red. Kirishima.
I'm at the agency doing some paperwork. Text me when you get here.
You gulped, thumb shaking as you typed out your reply.
I'm on the bus now. Should be there soon.
And send. You bit your lower lip, trying to hold back a smile. You were texting with the hero you have idolized for years. This was kind of exciting. The bus ride seemed to go a lot faster now that your mood was beginning to improve. You stepped off the bus and headed straight for Red Riot's hero agency. You took a deep breath and entered the building. While walking, you texted him that you were here and then tried to see if you could spot him. Right as you looked up, you ran into someone's hard back.
Oi! Watch where you're going.
You didn't even get a chance to apologize before you were being yelled at. Your eyes took in who was yelling at you. It was the explosive hero, Ground Zero. You frowned at him. He was not one of your favorites, especially in your line of work. Begrudgingly, you spoke up.
Sorry.
He placed a hand on his hips, his masked eyes narrowing at you into a glare.
Huh? I don't like that tone. It doesn't sound like you're sorry at all. Got a problem?
You shot a glare right back at him.
Yeah, kinda. Don't like being yelled at for accidentally bumping into you when I have cleaned up so many of your messes.
His eyes went wide. You could see his veins starting to bulge.
What did you just say?
You should learn how to control your temper and be more responsible with your quirk. You know how many fires we've had to put out because of you?
You crossed your arms and looked away from him, trying to find Red Riot so you could get out of this conversation.
What the fuck? Hey! Okay, that's enough, buck bro.
An arm wrapped around Ground Zero's shoulders, pulling him away from you. It was Red Riot. He was still in his hero costume, minus his headgear.
He doesn't mean anything by it. He's a good guy. Once you get to know him.
He shot you an apologetic smile, and your anger began to melt.
Thanks, Kirishima.
You looked him in the eyes, giving him your own smile, anger long forgotten. The same couldn't be said about Ground Zero.
Oi! Shitty hair. Who the fuck is this? Oh, traveler!
Your smile widened when you heard a familiar voice. You ran past the two heroes to jump into a warm, squishy hug.
Fat Gum!
As you were catching up with Fat Gum, Kirishima and Bakugo whispered amongst themselves. Fat Gum leaned down to give you a look, and you knew what he was going to say.
No, Fat Gum. Stop asking.
Aw, traveler, but you'll be great at it, I promise.
Fat Gum had been barking up that tree for almost 2 years, trying to get you to get a hero's license and start working for him. Red Riot walked over to the other side of you and cleared his throat, Fat Gum gave Red Riot a knowing smile and patted you on the head.
I'll get you one day. It was nice seeing you.
You waved goodbye as Red Riot stepped in front of you, holding out his hand.
Hi. It's nice to meet you, traveler.
Biting your lower lip, you took his hand in yours. His large hand engulfed it, almost completely covering it. You felt a shiver go up your spine. This was the best day of your life.
Likewise,
you said breathlessly. Was it warm in here?
So, before we get to our conversation, there's someone here who wants to say hi.
He let go of you to gently place his hand on your mid-back, lightly guiding you through the agency. You could barely breathe. Was it weird that the only thing you could feel right now was the warmth of his hand on your back? He took you to the back and opened the door for you to a conference room. Inside you saw 4 adults standing around a table where 2 kids were quietly playing. The kids looked up and they ran over to you, hugging your legs.
They're here! Traveler is here!
Shiro? Kimmy? You questioned as you crouched down to place a hand on each one of their backs.
We came to say thank you! So, thank you for saving us!
You gasped as they hugged you tightly. You looked up at the adults who were tearing up. They must be their parents. You turned back to look at Kirishima. He gave you a smile as he reached down to pick up both kids easily and placed both of them on each shoulder.
I got a call that their families wanted to thank the ones that helped their children during the fire, especially the one who helped Shiro with getting a hold of his quirk. I went to the fire station to see if you could come by today to see them. Lucky us, you called me so fast.
He jostled the kids on his shoulders. They laughed as they held on to his muscular arms to help keep their balance.
Yes, Shiro told us, and as did Red Riot, what you did for my baby. Thank you so much.
You turned back in time to be hugged by a woman that shared the same hair color as Shiro. You awkwardly put your arms around her and she hugged you more tightly, her body shaking slightly. You firmly placed your arms around her.
I just helped him get somewhere he could release all his stored up energy. But I'm happy I was there to help.
She let go of you to return to her husband, watching her son laugh as he hung from Red Riot's arms.
Though, I think Kimmy was the real hero.
You took Kimmy off from on top of Kirishima's shoulder and gave her a hug that she happily returned.
She stayed with her friend who needed her, encouraging him the entire time. I'm sure if she wasn't there, it would have been an entirely different story. You should be proud of your little girl.
You smiled at Kimmy's parents, who gave you a nod.
If it would be all right, could we take a picture of the 4 of you together? As a memory of the people that saved our children's lives.
Kimmy's mother held up a camera. How could you say no? Kirishima stood behind you, watching as you waved goodbye to Shiro and Kimmy's families. You had looked completely shocked when the parents thanked you. It made Kirishima wonder if you haven't heard that very often.
You know, not very many thank the civil servants.
Many people just see them as wannabe heroes that didn't make the cut, or just helping people because it's their job. You turned to him. His eyes went wide as you tucked some hair behind your ear that the wind had blown out of place, a sweet smile spreading across your lips.
That's the first time someone full-heartedly thanked me for saving them.
So thank you for letting me experience that. Your smile grew wider as your eyes almost seemed to sparkle. He felt his tongue become tied and he was at a loss.
That's a real shame. From what I hear about you, you do a lot for the people. Everyone should thank you.
Kirishima avoided your eyes as he stepped closer, shoving his hands further into his pockets. He was becoming painfully aware of how small you were compared to him.
So, in place of all those people who should have thanked you, let me treat you.
He pounded a fist to his chest, trying to bring the attention away from the blush forming on his face.
I know a great ramen place that will warm you up.
Your smile dropped and eyes widened. Did he say something wrong? You looked down at the ground as you fiddled with your sleeves, pulling them up to tuck your hands inside them. "I'd like that," you said in a small voice, looking back at him with eyes full of awe and dusted pink cheeks. Kirishima nervously swallowed.
Alright. It's, this way.
What was that? Kirishima nervously tapped on the table as he sat across from you. You were still reading over the menu. He rested his head on an open hand as you read. You were focusing intently on the menu, trying not to look at the hero in front of you. You started to space out, debating if you wanted a miso or beef ramen. A small chuckle knocked you out of your trance, making you look up. Your eyes met with crimson ones and your body jolted before you hid your face behind the menu. Kirishima smiled, seemingly to be entertained.
You're like a little rabbit.
Huh? You lowered your menu and raised a brow at him.
You're so jumpy and easily get embarrassed. It's hard to believe you're the same person who jumped out of a window on the 10th floor with a child that was pretty much a living bomb.
He laughed as you puffed out your cheeks in a pout. The waitress came over to take your orders before you could retort. After she left, your eyes fell back on him. At least I wasn't the dumbass who went in a fire with only a bandana covering his mouth.
In my defense, I wasn't exactly in the area expecting there to be a fire. It's a hero's and a man's job to do what he can do to help those who are in trouble, no matter what the situation.
Kirishima held up his hand, hardening it.
Plus, my quirk was the best option. If Bakugo went in, he could have caused more harm than good with his explosive sweat. I couldn't just stand there if I knew I could help. How could I call myself a man if I just sat there, waiting for help to come while those people were stuck in there?
Your eyes were glued to his hardened hand. You kind of wanted to touch it, but bit your lip to hold back the urge to ask. He held his hand out to you, and you looked up at him, surprised. You slowly reached out for his hand. Looking back up as if asking for permission, you waited for Kirishima to nod before gently stroking his fingers, feeling the spikes and grooves of his hardened skin. It was warm and soft. It still had the texture of human skin. Gently, your fingers glided across his sturdy hands, amazed that these were the same ones that have been through numerous battles. "It's a lot warmer and softer than I expected," you mumbled, still stroking his hand. You moved on from his fingers to his palms. "You really are cool." Kirishima blinked at you as his face became as red as his hair, and he sputtered in disbelief.
It isn't really anything special. It's not as flashy and powerful like Ground Zero or Deku.
You hummed as you continued your feathered touches. "True, it's not as flashy, but I think it's powerful in a different way. You being one of the top heroes really inspires people with quirks like ours."
Like ours?
You nodded, finally looking up at him.
What is your quirk?
You looked to the side where there was a candle and pulled your hand away from him. He watched as you reached for the lit candle and brought it closer to you. "My quirk is called Allostasis Body. My body is in a way immune to damage caused by extreme conditions. You put your finger inside the flame. In response to the heat or coldness, my body will instantly change its structure so it can survive. I don't have any real control of it, and it doesn't protect me from getting hurt when I'm hit, or keep me from drowning. But it's pretty useful. If I'm in intense fires and I need to give up my gear to protect someone else, it's not a problem. Or if I get stuck in a blizzard, I will never have to worry about frostbite. My body will adjust to my food and water intake to extend my sustainability, but I could still starve or become dehydrated, just not as fast as the average person. And no, I do not grow gills while underwater. I still need to breathe air like a normal human being. But if I fall in freezing waters, I won't get hypothermia. You held up your finger. It was glowing red, like it was a piece of metal that had been heated up. Sliding your drink over to you, you dunked your finger in your ice water and steam instantly rose. You dried your finger and showed him. No burns or any signs that you had held it in a flame for a couple of minutes.
Now that's cool. No wonder you picked up Shiro without much thought.
He reached up and touched your finger. Now he was gently touching you. You instantly blushed at his caresses.
Our quirks are kind of similar. Well, only the fire part. I can still get cold, I just naturally produce a lot of heat. Must be from all the training and working out. But your quirk is pretty awesome. You definitely picked the right profession for it to be used.
You hesitantly pulled your hand from him, placing both of your hands under the table. "Thank you," you mumbled. Kirishima crossed his arms on the table and laid his head down on them, trying to look you in your downcast eyes.
Traveler, relax a little. I'm having fun talking to you. I'm sure you will too once you loosen up a bit. Or, do you just not like talking to me?
"That's not it at all!" Your head shot up and your voice came out louder than intended. He jumped in his seat, wide-eyed, staring back at you. You quickly lowered your voice as you tried to will your blush away. "I'm just nervous."
Why?
You swallowed. Don't tell him you were a big nerd who collected his merch and decorated your house with it. Trying to change the subject, you started to fan yourself. It's kind of warm in here." He narrowed his eyes at you, probably not buying it since you just told him how your quirk worked. You started to take off your coat and folded it over your chair. That's when Kirishima sat up straight. He pointed down at your shirt, unable to form the words. Looking down, your face instantly turned red, and you crossed your arms to cover the words "Red Riot" written in red across your chest. "Crap! I thought this was a regular black t-shirt!" You slammed your head down on the table. Hard. You heard a hissing sound come from Kirishima, probably wincing from the sound of your head hitting the wood.
Are you okay?
Oh, no.
So, you're a fan of mine?
Kill me now. Just crush my skull right here. You dramatically pointed to your head with both hands. You moved till you were resting on your chin, looking completely depressed. He raised an eyebrow at you as his head rested in an open palm. An amused smirk plastered on his face.
Why hide it?
Because I'm embarrassed.
Of being my fan?
Yes. No. It's more I'm embarrassed that that's your first impression of me. I was so rude to you. And how can I call myself a dedicated fan if I couldn't even recognize you when your hair isn't spiked and have a bandana only covering your mouth? When I saw the news, I could clearly tell it was you. The hole you felt that you were in was getting deeper and sucking you with each word you said. Someone end your misery, please. Kirishima reached out, stroking your head.
Traveler, my first impression of you was that you were a badass. You have nothing to worry about. I think you're amazing and have a truly manly heart.
You snorted, finally giving him a genuine smile without any nervousness. Manly heart?
Yeah, that's a great compliment.
For everybody?
Agree to disagree.
The rest of the night went more smoothly. You had finally let loose and were talking to him less formally. You even stopped calling him Red Riot, just Kirishima. Time just seemed to fly with him. You didn't even notice that you guys had been sitting there for hours, food long ago finished, just talking. The both of you were exchanging stories of rescues and other odd or funny things you had run into while on the job.
No wonder you're known as the heroic firefighter. You do some crazy stuff. All you gotta do now is take a swim in a volcano and you've done it all.
You snorted as you laughed, not even caring that you were doing your weird laugh in front of him. You swirled your glass before taking a sip of water. Nah, I'm pretty sure there are a few more things out there I haven't done.
Have you ever been interviewed?
Huh? Kirishima bit his lip, eyes wandering to the ceiling instead of on you.
There's this magazine. They want to do a spread on me and the fire, and I was wondering if you would be willing to come with me and tell them about what you did.
Your brain tried to process what he was saying.
I couldn't help but notice that every article and news story only talked about me. No one mentioned what you did for that little boy, and it didn't feel right for me to take all the credit.
He slammed a fist down on the table, frustrated. Kirishima? You gently placed your cup down. I don't need any credit. The family's already thanked me. I couldn't ask for any more than that.
But I can.
Kirishima turned to you, not breaking eye contact.
I think you deserve to be recognized. Shiro's family already said they wouldn't mind if we told their story as long as we left their names out of it.
He reached over and grabbed your hand tightly. You noticed how his hand fully engulfed yours, and how his palms felt wet. Was he nervous?
Please. I feel like I wouldn't be telling the whole story, and I have felt guilty for taking credit I didn't earn myself.
You broke eye contact first, staring off to the side. You could just say a firefighter from Station 49 rescued a child.
No, I want you to tell it. I didn't see it or really know what was going on when we reached Shiro and Kimi. But you knew exactly what to do and acted on it. That's why I feel like you should be in the interview with me.
Kirishima squeezed your hand, begging for you to agree. I understand, but I'm not good with having a lot of attention on me. I like that I can help people without having to worry about my image or the media. Kirishima seemed to perk up. A smile started to grow on his face.
What if they don't include any pictures of you or use your real name? Would you do it then?
You chuckled, finally looking up at him with a raised eyebrow. What would they call me?
Heroic firefighter. The only ones who would know it was you would be the local hero agencies and fire stations, and you're already famous amongst them, so they wouldn't even be surprised.
He was determined to get you to talk about what you did. It was so odd having someone so adamant about you getting recognition. It was kind of nice.
Pro or not, I still think you're a hero, and I'm sure Shiro sees you as one too. I want people to recognize yours and other civil servants' hard work.
You think
I'm a hero? But I'm not.
Your heart sped up, feeling warmth spread through your body. Kirishima waved his free hand, cutting you off as if he knew where you were going with that thought.
Sure, you don't fight villains or have a cool costume, but you don't have to fight villains to become a hero. Protecting and helping those in need, that's what a hero does. By that definition, you are a hero.
Someone you admired for so long was now sitting in front of you, complimenting you, and calling you a hero in his eyes. God, you tried to hold back the tears that were threatening to spill over by biting on your lower lip.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt.
Kirishima and you both jumped and instantly pulled your hands apart.
But we're closing soon.
You looked around. There were no other customers there, and the staff was already cleaning up. Oops.
You really didn't have to walk me home,
you mumbled as the two of you were walking towards your apartment complex. Kirishima was too kind for this world and really stubborn. No matter what you said, he kept shooting every excuse down and wouldn't take no for an answer. He flashed you a sharp-toothed smile as he pounded a fist on his chest.
It's a man's job to make sure everyone gets home safe. I wouldn't feel right if I just let you walk home by yourself after I made you go all the way to my office.
You sighed. Oh well. The two of you walked in silence, but you didn't feel nervous anymore. All of the tension in your body had melted away over the course of the night, and you couldn't imagine why you were even so nervous. You thanked him as he held the door open for you to the building. So polite, and he seemed very understanding. He didn't even flinch when he found out that you were a nerdy fan. Granted, he hasn't seen your home. That's when it dawned on you. Red Riot was walking you home, which was pretty much a museum dedicated to Red Riot. He can't see your home. No way.
You don't have to walk me up all the way to my door. I can ride the elevator by myself.
Sweat was starting to build on your neck. Kirishima rolled his eyes at you as he stepped into the elevator, his arm sticking out to keep the door open.
Really? You've done enough for me for one night.
You mumbled as you stepped onto the elevator.
Well, you haven't given me an answer still.
Kirishima put his hands in his jean pockets as he watched the numbers go up till it dinged when it reached your floor. He began to take a step out of the elevator.
About the interview? It's next month, so you have time to think about it, but...
You ran out first and pushed him back into the elevator. He stumbled till his back hit the far wall.
Oops, sorry, I didn't, I just... Really, here is fine, and
You quickly hit the first floor button and backed away to let the doors close. He was still shocked when the doors started sliding shut.
Now think about it!
You took off running.
Wait, that's not...
You rushed back to your apartment, ready to explode. What the fuck was wrong with you? You groaned as you slid down the door, resting your head in your hands. You didn't move for a few minutes, wallowing in your self-pity and stupidity. Your phone vibrated in your pocket, making you jump. A text from Kirishima.
Good night. And don't worry, I'm not mad. I'll see you later.
You became putty on the floor as you sighed with relief.
Thank God he isn't mad.
You slowly stood up, taking off your shoes and making your way to bed. Once your pants were on the floor, you hopped right into bed, exhausted from today. You couldn't help but squeal into your pillow when you looked up to see your Red Riot banner above your head. You just hung out with the Red Riot in all his hardened, muscly glory. Best day ever.